the CCTV cameras so that people can't see the cops dressed up like anarchists attacking people. The foundation funded anarchists always send us threatening emails saying we're lying about this when it's all over the news. They work for the cops and have been caught everywhere. I made a film 10 years ago about it. We've got all of this going on. We've got articles here dealing with anarchist plot mayhem for the G20 in London. Kurt Nimmo doing a story on this, how it's all just made up, how the foundations openly fund them. Continue.
Okay, so we've got this group of kids with fake guns and fireworks. This has been hyped up, and now, as a result of this, and the week-long, campaign, seemingly, by the police to ensure everyone that it's going to turn violent, because that's what they've been saying. We've got Gordon Brown coming out today saying that it's going to be violent, but we're going to deal with it swiftly. We've got 5,000 extra police on the streets under something called Operation Glencoe. They've armed them all with tasers. We've got banks boarded up, shops boarded up, bankers being told not to dress like bankers because they'll be attacked and strung up and skinned alive and all this kind of thing.
And then meanwhile, the big foundation-run Soviet groups, the communist groups, are having their own conference. They're allowed to openly call for violence and put out websites and pamphlets, and nothing's done to them because they're stinking operatives. Go ahead.
Well, that's right. We've got a load of stories out today about the anarchists. They're openly telling the press what they're going to do. They've been handing out flyers and maps and everything of where they're going to go. They say they're going to pretend to be legitimate protesters. Then they're going to break off from the group, storm the city, which is a financial district of London, and, quote, hold it down for as long as they possibly can.
So let's understand what's happening. We need to do a blurb off the hundreds of admissions, mainstream, Canadian press, U.S. press, French press, Dutch press, where they hire these thugs. I've got training videos of where they're taken by the foundations and trained in Oregon 3 months before they then fly them into Seattle in 99s when I learned about all of this. And I had the police on tape admitting it. The Delta Force leading them, Seattle Post Intelligence. We need to have an article that's the history of this, all the confirmed confirmations of who they work for. We need people down there with video cameras to show how the police in plain clothes are going to be leading these punks, because we're really breaking through now with the people, Steve Watson. They're finding out this is provocateur.
Yeah. I mean, the last major protest we had in London on this scale were when Bush came over last summer on his farewell tour. And people came out there, and there was stories then about provocateuring. The MP, the anti-war MP, George Galloway, officially accused police officer of provocateuring.
No, exactly. No, it was in mainstream British papers and on YouTube, because folks shot video of, and it came out because some gay guy recognized the gay police officer, his lover, dressed up. That was one of the stories. You can pull it. I forget the head. It was like London Times or something. He recognized him dressed up like an anarchist, hitting cops and yelling and calling for fights. And then his gay lover went on the news and said, "That's my lover. I recognize him." And then it all came out. So go ahead.
There's a whole history of it. You can go to Seattle, the World Trade Organization protest in '99, which was in your film Police State 2. It's all covered in there. There's the SPP protest 3 years ago in Montebello in Canada, where we've been over that, where the hired provocateurs were outed as they had to admit that they were police.
Royal Mounted Police. Go ahead.
Yeah. Genoa, WTO protest in Genoa in 2001. You got protesters being shot and run over, and the Italian police taking over schools and putting people in there, and then later admitting that, they were claiming to be, protesters, anarchists. So
Well, they just caught him. Hold on, they just caught him in Greece a few months ago. The police directing guys with sledgehammers and baseball bats beating up cars, and they were cops. That's on national news in Greece that the cops are doing it.
There's the free trade area of the Americas protests in 2003 or 2004.
There was a Fortune 500 in 99 in Austin with Austin cops I caught doing it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a long history of it. So, you know, we've got the police, you know, got bomb squads being detached to houses with kids with fireworks in, while these anarchists are all sort of making their plans known in public. And another thing that's come out of this is demonization of the internet, because in the media they've been, you know, harping on about how all these dangerous sort of protesters that want violence have been using Twitter and using Facebook, and that's how they're going to, you know, evade the police.
That's right. The terrorist extremists are using the internet. It must be restricted immediately.
Exactly, and this comes at the same time we've got all these debates going on about the government wanting to monitor social networks like Facebook and Twitter.
And we have the head of anti-terrorism, cybersecurity, resign, saying the Pentagon's running the whole thing illegally.
Yeah, and they've already virtually got the right to monitor emails and phone calls of everybody in this country if it's deemed to be a security threat, and now they want to do the same for these social networks. So if anything kicks off in the next few days, that's already been hyped to a point where it's going to provide them a perfect pretext to...
Steve, could I get you with your cell phone to go down and do some reporting for us, perhaps, Thursday and Friday?
Well, I can, yeah. I mean, it's going to be... I think it's going to be intense down there.
Now I want to go to Steve, from Steve to Paul Watson. His brother also works with us. But specifically, what do you think of the London Telegraph and other articles about how all last week Obama is practicing gifts and etiquette, how to be reviewed by the Queen and to bow to her?
What do I think about that?
Yes.
Well, I haven't seen any of that, but what was in the Telegraph? The Telegraph, yeah, that's the kind of thing that they'd print. Of course, you know, we saw when Bush came to meet the Queen, who is of course distantly related to, it's all the same bloodlines. We saw the open sort of pomp and ceremony there, and I'm sure it'll be along the same lines as that.
Yeah, here's the article. Barack Obama's team preparing etiquette and gifts for President's meeting with the Queen. Top advisors to Obama are rehearsing the etiquette and debating what gifts President will give to Queen Elizabeth when he meets the British monarch in London. The gifts have been selected with extra care. Protocol lessons on royal etiquette are being delivered. And a week's wardrobe of casual and formal attire set aside for the First Lady, who is an international style icon. President Obama and his wife Michelle head to London on Tuesday to start their first overseas tour in office, accompanied by an entourage of several hundred aides, advisors, Secret Service agents and bodyguards, and an imported cavalcade of armored vehicles and helicopters. A visit to Buckingham Palace on Wednesday afternoon is the formal showpiece of a packed work schedule, back-to-back summits in G20 in London, NATO in Strasbourg, and EU-US Prague, plus a bilateral meetings with world leaders including Gordon Brown and Downing Street.
Sounds glorious, doesn't it?
You know, we all have fun doing voices. Hey, Steve, you want to do your Texas voice? You did do that pretty good. Get off my land, boys, my land. Go ahead and do one for us.
I can't do that now.
Yes, you can. Do it. Do it now. You have to wear the cowboy hat to do it. As soon as like an Elmer Fudd cartoon, you know, he puts the hats on.
I have to get a character to do that.
Imagine the cowboy hat's now on your head. Take us out. You're on the spot. The curtain parts. The spotlight's on. Steve Watson.
Get off my land, boy.
Gotta have some fun. We love you, Steve. Steve, thanks for spending time with us. We're going to come back to your brother, Paul Watson, okay?
Okay, thanks a lot, Alex.
Check out his great writing over at Infowars.net. That's the site he completely honchos himself. Also does work over at PrisonPlanet.com. Get off my land, boy!
The new world order beast is genetically modifying your food.